how do you bring everybody together, and how do you get everybody with the right set of values around all the decisions we need to make on a continuous basis. There's no manual for that, all right?
In the landing films, I meet the pioneers restoring natural systems, rebuilding local communities, and redefining how we live on the land. Hi, I'm Ben, and I'm here in Kenya because a friend of mine has invested in a small plot that's attached to a farm with a guest house and a catering business.
We are what we eat.
This agriculture, it's like our backbone.
This is a season of our lives in which it will be important to grow trees in an environment in whose shade we know we won't sit.
If you can scale up as a community and do something, that's when you can really have an impact.
We have both the cultivation of crops, the cultivation of experiences around food, and the cultivation of a community in this space. And that's how it brings it together.
Uncle Bob's is a small family farm on the foothills of Mount Kenya, looking out over the Rift Valley towards the Aberdares. It's close enough to Nairobi that Ken and Kate can run their catering business in the capital and run food experiences on the farm. Their big idea, called Mwatu, is to divide a small portion of the farm up into half-acre plots so that people can buy them and become part of a bigger project.
Lights, action.
Lights, camera, action!
Hi, I'm Kate and welcome to Uncle Bob's.
My name is Kenywa. I'm Kate's Kenywa. And here we are at home, Kieni East constituency in Nyeri County, which is in Kenya, which is in the eastern part of East Africa. One of the things that it's been so important for us to think through and communicate and share with everybody who's interested in buying, as well as the engineers and professionals that we're working with, is design guidelines that express the philosophy we have that the infrastructure we build needs and must blend into the land.
So what I really love about this model is the way the different elements interact with each other. So there's the farm, which grows the produce, and then we have the guest house, Uncle Bob's guest house, and the catering arm associated with that uses the produce to create these brilliant food experiences for guests. And then there's the third element, which is about cultivating a broader community, and that's the 12-acre plot called Mwatu.
We're taking a walk through what we call Mwatu, and we've got 12 half-acre individual plots to cultivate a community of friends, you know, the kind of friends who become family. We're going to be looking for about 8 buyers for those.
My name's Pitkin, or Alex, and I'm sitting in almost the middle of a little plot on Mwatu that I selected. What Mwatu is doing is to share a lot of the things you need to have a safe, comfortable, beautiful, sustainable, environmentally friendly place to live.
If you can't cultivate crops, the thing you can actually cultivate well here is a community.
Oh wow. Oh dear. Cheers. The magic of Mwatu is the balance of independence and interdependence. Let's share some things, but let's do our own thing as well. The infrastructure plan was based on extensive research into things like the natural water flow, how to reduce the reliance on vehicles, and which crops and trees would suit the varied terrain. So plot owners can build what they like, from yoga platforms to growing beds, so long as they use natural local resources and their work complements the overarching vision. In other words, it's like the benefit of a farm without having to buy a whole farm yourself.
I happened to get very ill. I moved to Boston to go to university, and I spent about 9 months just ill. I eventually landed in this fantastic doctor, and she said to me, I see this a lot with people coming from the South. It's our food in the US is just too radiated, it's got too many chemicals, it's making people sick. That's why food is very important to me. I can't control everything, obviously, because we don't grow absolutely everything, and growing stuff is very hard.
So welcome to the honey garden. My name is Eric. I manage this area where we have different sectors. Like we've got the apiary, we've got the greenhouse, the outdoor growth. That's what we deal mainly in here. This one's agroforestry. They offer shade, they are windbreakers, and also we feel like they benefit mutually because of the roots and the leaves as well. When we have now these leaves falling and then decomposing, so we have compost as well. We have 15 hives and a seat over there, the green one, that we use as a catcher box. The strategy that we have here is to let the hive get filled, and then that hive is filled, so they're going to move to the next hive. And then here is where we come to train. If there's anything that we have to analyze, go through, that's our board over there. Now, this is also a drying shed, and we use it as a seedling area. So we put the trays here, seedling bags under, and then we've got the seeds.
We did an audit of this space and we found on the 12 acres we had 134 different varieties of trees and plants. That's now our ecological baseline.
Behind Mwatu is the idea of organizing as a collective. It's the story of a small family farm that wants to be something bigger. Under the pressure of climate change and rising inequality, Mwatu is a life raft. The model makes land and infrastructure accessible to people that couldn't otherwise afford it. As the community grows and the infrastructure evolves, I imagine the ongoing challenge will be agreeing the values and the culture that guide how they make decisions.
My bottom line must be a balance of values being created in terms of community, the ecology, and its cash flow. And I shouldn't get too fixated on one or the other. In terms of its commercial value, yes, cash flow is important, but it's equally important that I must be making that cash flow in ways that improve the soil. So I think creating spaces like that sometimes is development, but we don't have to think of it only in terms of buildings and the consumption and commoditization of spaces.
Often this land has been very poorly treated with monoculture or extensive farming practices like that. But the land is fertile, it wants to grow, it has this amazing baseline of indigenous plants, trees, wildlife, insects, bacteria, all those things. And I think the idea of rewilding it and letting this land breathe again and come back, and then, you know, nurturing it in a way that makes sense to me and my friends and family, and seeing how, you know, more people can experience like a more sustainable way of visiting this area, and I guess setting up for other people to set that up in other areas as well. A lot of things in life are sort of trying to be enforced individualism, I guess, of like, you buy your land, you put your walls up around your land, and that's your land, and that's, you know, that's for your family, that's your shelter. And that individualism has sort of, I think, it been proven to not be particularly healthy or not work.
Whoa, my favorite place is actually to sit out on this lawn, just right here at the front under the jacaranda tree. The light is amazing.
This is kind of the headquarters. This reservoir feeds all our irrigation, and this is what is so fundamental to us being able to produce year-round. One of the important lessons for us there is, you know, in a solar system, the most expensive component is often the batteries. At a fraction of that price, we built the reservoir. We just keep pumping the excess water into the reservoir. So basically, rather than store the energy as battery power, you store the energy as water. In 2023, there were 8 days in the year where rain of some kind fell. And this is what helped us make sure we could continue to be productive through seasons like that. And that's just lessons you learn on the job, on the way. I think the so-called modern way of farming, which has been happening for so many centuries, has really alienated us from that basic relationship with the land. We don't look at weeds as an enemy. Now we are going to harvest the weeds for our 2025 compost. I think that's what capitalism does. It takes you to the cash flow at the expense of everything else.
The global trajectory seems to be more power consolidated in fewer hands. But Mwatu at Uncle Bob's shows that there's another way. Privilege doesn't need to be hoarded by individuals. It can be shared. And so the lesson here is do it for the community. More specifically, create the conditions for a community to grow. Woo! Mwatu may be in Kenya, but this model could work anywhere.
There's so many challenges, but one being financing. Then there's energy challenges. For instance, for us, we would like to switch to solar, more renewable stuff. Be self-sufficient, you know, with water and stuff. Because the river, you see we have a river, but it's dry. Have you noticed? There's no water flowing. So yeah, it's very little. So there, definitely that. Those are the major challenges, I would say. Yeah.
Every time we've had guests, we've had friends who come by, it's so important that before they leave, they plant a tree. It's happening as one of our most valuable and treasured traditions now. Even people who don't often plant trees or never come across the opportunity to do so always seem to find it such a connecting experience and such a grounding experience. We feel like that brings the idea of cultivating a community between people and the environment together so well as a forest of friendship.
So you have to come back and check in our progress, and we need your input and insights and support. Click here to subscribe. Yeah, come plant seeds. Come invest in the nursery.
Next time we're in Wales at Three Pools, an ambitious project run by young people that are trying to balance permaculture and party culture. Please like, subscribe and follow along for more ideas from businesses and communities that bring us back together and bring us back to the land.